My dear Patterns of Possibility listeners, I want to let you know that I really do appreciate you listening to this podcast. Your listenership means a lot to me. And this podcast is my sincere gift to you. And maybe you'd like to take action on reciprocating this gift. If you would, I'll mention a few things that are pretty helpful to me in the creation of this podcast. One thing that you could do is rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Make sure to give it 5 stars. And if you're listening on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It helps a lot. Also, another thing that you can do to support my efforts is to sign up at my email list at Patterns of Possibility. When you sign up, you'll receive actionable steps to making meaningful connections. We talk about everything from people pleasing to ghosting, socializing do's and don'ts, compliments, one-sided friendships, and everything in between. So if you'd like support on making more meaningful connections with your friends and family or businesses and coworkers, sign up. Another thing that you could do is follow me on social media. I'm looking at TikTok in particular because I'm there all of the time. I'm on the road to reach 10,000 followers so that I can live stream some of my workshops. It'd be really helpful, and it would help me bring these opportunities to you for free. The last thing that I can recommend that you do is if you like this podcast and you know of someone who might enjoy it, please share it with that person. Share it with a friend. It really does go a long way. With that said, once again, your listenership means a whole lot to me. Thank you so much for your support. Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about fake compliments. You know, when people say things to you that seem like they're polite and nice, and they just have this feeling to them that they seem disingenuous. Let's explore how to spot that and what to do when we encounter it and move through it. Are you ready? Let's go. So for many years, I consider myself a really fake person, fake and disingenuous, doing everything that I could possibly do to fit in with the other people. You know, I can't really show who I am because people won't accept it. So I have to like pander and schmooze and doing all that stuff. And now at this stage in my life and my growth, my understanding of who I am, I'm like, ugh, ugh. I did that. I tried really hard. I shared things that was really not true, embellished, trying to bolster somebody else. You know, I was disingenuous. So I get the idea of sharing these compliments because you believe that the other person wants to hear it. But really, I think, this is my own personal opinion from my own experiences, it's for that person who is insecure to feel a bit important. That's just because I did it myself. I'm like, I'm going to share, I'm going to compliment, I'm going to bolster you. I'm going to do things and say things that make you feel good because, you know, I'm afraid that you'll see the insecurity in me. But it's icky. That's the word I have for it. It doesn't feel good when people give you those kind of compliments because it's laced with their insecurity. If you can feel it emotionally, it's laced with their insecurity, right? And so when you hear that or you feel that coming, it's like, this isn't a real compliment. They are hiding something or they're doing something. What is it that's, You know, I can barely describe the sensation. Icky is the word that I have for it, though. Icky is the word. So if you find yourself struggling accepting compliments because you think they're disingenuous or they're not truthful, I've got you. I'm going to tell you 2 ways. There are 2 things that you can do when you encounter one of those compliments to not let the ickiness get on you, for better or worse explanation of what it feels like to have that, because it's like, oh, that's like them handing you something that's soiled in dirt, and they're like, this is a gift to you, and you're like, you pick at it with two fingers. Like, imagine it's like maybe a soiled sock or something. Just imagine that. This is like what it feels like emotionally to me. They hand you this dirty ass sock, and they hand it to you, and it's like a gift, and they expect you to be happy and excited about it, but you like trying not to take it. You don't want to touch it because it's icky, and you put your little two fingers out, and you're like trying to hold it away from you. It's that, but for compliments, right? And so what we want to do is be better at accepting those kind of compliments, because it is a sincere gift. Even though it's dirty and it feels icky, it's a sincere gift. So I want to talk about that. So step one is to adjust your mindset. The step one to accepting those kind of compliments that feel that way, like, I don't want to accept that. It doesn't feel real. It's not a genuine compliment. I want you to shift your mindset to ask yourself questions that are different from, what did they mean by that? Or, I wonder what they want from me, which is kind of suspicious of their motives. Or, don't they realize that this isn't feeling good to me? They don't notice that. They're not even focused on you. They're focused on making sure that they give you something to add value so that their insecurities aren't seen. But lo and behold, to you, you see those insecurities. It's a dirty sock. It's obvious to you. It's dirty. You don't want to touch it. But what I want you to do, what I hope that you'd be able to do, is adjust your mindset to accept the compliment, to accept the dirty sock. Accept it. Because we all want understanding. They are looking for something from you. They want that acceptance, and you can be empowered to give that to them by accepting the compliment that they say, right? So it's more about you. It's more than just you feeling good. It's not about you feeling good. It's about actually paying attention to them. It's their desire to tell you about how they experience you. Okay, so maybe, the dirty sock doesn't quite feel good, but they really might, underneath that, really want to let you know that they admire you or they like something about you. So you want to make that connection and accept and understand how they might view you. Now, the next step to this is going to see if that's BS or not. We're going to see if that's really genuine or not. But establish the connection by accepting the compliment. So with this mindset of compliment, it's not about you getting your esteem boosted because it's a dirty sock that they gave you. It's unpleasant. It's a weird, icky compliment. It's about boosting their self-esteem. It's about acknowledging them because they're feeling a little insecure. So you get to provide some space for them and connect with them. This is an advanced skill, definitely an advanced skill. I don't tell people essentially to go out there and take care of people's feelings. But if you want to understand more about where this compliment is coming from, if it's genuine or not, this is step one. This is step one. Accepting the compliment. Don't negate that. Okay? If you think the compliment is disingenuous, after accepting it is the time to discover. Right? So you've got to create that connection by accepting their view of reality of you. Acknowledging them. The next step, the next thing you want to do is get curious. You want to get curious about this specific compliment that you heard. Ask questions about why they appreciate what they do. For example, if someone had suggested that you're so amazing. Oh my God, you're so gorge. Wow, I love you. The question that I would ask, I'd be curious to know, because I can't see right away what it is that's gorgeous. I don't understand quite a bit. So what I'd ask is, what do you find somewhat amazing? What do you find so amazing about me? You would ask, because you're genuinely curious. Where is this compliment coming from? What have you done to impact them in a way they see that you are so gorge, right? What is that thing? So this not only provides insight into their genuine thoughts, but also allows you to acknowledge their feelings. So maybe they do see something that's great about you. What I think is that the response that you're looking for is for them to say something specific. What is it specifically that you find gorgeous about me? I'm looking for the details so that I can see how you view me. I think people who BS you can't come up with any details. They just say things to say things. They'll say, "Oh, you're so gorge." And I'm like, "Why? What did you see? What do you see? What do you notice about me?" "Well, it's your face, you know." "Okay, what about my face?" "Yeah, your face. It's so gorge." Okay. That feels disgusting to me. That doesn't feel like a genuine compliment. I think genuine compliments for me are ones that show up in the actions and behaviors that I do that bring them joy, because that's how I consider compliments. When I compliment someone, I don't say it just for the fuck of it. I really want to tell you about the experiences that I have with you, because you smiled at this way, because you said this at this time and it brought me a whole lot of joy, because you did this thing, because you said that thing specifically, because you wore this and it looks very beautiful, with it brings out the color in your eyes, or something along those lines. I really like to focus on the actions that people do. So when I give compliments, they don't feel like something that is disingenuous. I'm saying it just because I'm trying to boost their self-esteem because I'm so insecure. Those aren't things that I say. And I hope that you'll be able to spot those that come by when people do have a moment of insecurity and they don't know what to do, so they say a compliment. I hope that you're able to spot those and connect with that person with step one, which is essentially adjusting your mindset and accepting the compliment. Don't think that they're trying to get something from you, but you want to genuinely connect with that person. If you really want to get deeper to understand where that compliment comes from, or if it's genuine or not, because you may not know, if you can tell it's not genuine and you want to get curious about it, then ask a question. Ask, what do they notice about you and your behavior, to make them understand that. It's going to do so much for you and your relationships. You won't be suspicious about what their motives are, because you know that, well, it's basically BS if they really can't, this is my opinion, but if they can't really back it up with any specific instances that they've seen of you, that they've had with you, that, wow, this is a genuine compliment. Are you tired of being around people who just don't get you? Have you been putting yourself out there but not able to find anybody that matches your vibe? You're not alone. Making friends, especially as an adult, is hard. My name's Coach Lee. I'm a social connections coach, and I want to help you find your tribe. I have a 3-step coaching program for groups and individuals that's designed to help you get to the right place, to meet the right people, to have the right kind of conversations that leave you feeling fulfilled, appreciated, and understood. After going through the Find Your Tribe coaching program, you'll discover who it is that you really want to be connected to, how to find those people, and what you need to talk about so that your relationship moves from an acquaintanceship to a close friendship. And with this program, you won't be on this journey alone. You'll have access to a private community in which there are others who are just as intentional about making the kind of connections you are. You'll also have access to live events like weekly Q&As, speed friending, and much more. You'll be able to practice your skills in a safe environment and feel confident to connect authentically when you get out into the real world. If you're ready to get started on making meaningful connections and lasting relationships, then apply to the coaching program by using the link in the show notes. I'll be right back with the Answer Reddit question. Hey, this is Coach Lee Hopkins here. I just want to let you know that you're awesome and your feelings matter. I know the holidays are fast approaching, and if you're going home to a family to be surrounded by people who don't believe that your feelings matter, and you constantly get caught up in the fighting and the frustrations, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the obligations that you have with family, I want to empower you to break those generational patterns of disdain and distrust. I will be releasing content from my masterclass, Friends with Family. This content from Friends with Family is going to help you develop skills to be more grounded in yourself so that you can actually connect with your family. You are going to learn to create more connecting and curious conversations. You'll also learn how to navigate high drama topics without getting drawn into a conflict. Now, this course is not going to fix deep-seated problems that you might have with your family members, and it won't heal any traumas that you've experienced. It's going to help you communicate more authentically, to empower you to have regular conversations and actually connect with your family. It's my sincere hope that more of us out there who are breaking those generational patterns to not just stop the pain from moving forward, but to really become friends with our family. If you want to be a part of this, check the link in the show notes. All right, now it's time for the Reddit friendship advice question. If you have a friendship advice question that you think I should answer, tag me in it on Reddit. My handle is Brilliant and Resilient. That's Brilliant, the letter N, Resilient. I think my friend is jealous of me, and I'm tired of her backhanded compliments. Hi. So I have this friend. She's also my coworker. She's a cool person to talk to for the most part, but something that she's been doing lately has been bothering me. She constantly gives me backhanded compliments and slick comments. For example, 2 weeks ago, we went out and my car got towed. It sucks when this type of thing happens, but it's life. Well, anyways, I was flipping out because I never had my car towed or know any number to get my car back, so my friend and I went up to the towing guy and asked him for some details about my car. Long story short, we had to take an Uber to go where my car was, and it was about 30 minutes away. Well, we get into the Uber, and the Uber guy is talking to us about how our night's going, and I vent to him about how my car got towed. After about 5 minutes or so, Uber guy was only talking to me and not my friend at all anymore. Then my friend started giving me the cold shoulder and not really saying anything. That was the second time that night that I had a guy hit on me. Also, when I changed my hair, when I change my hair up, which I do quite often, she'll say something like, "Oh, you changed your hairstyle again. Your forehead looks different with your head like that." I get offended and ask her, "What do you even mean by that? Don't get disrespectful." Or I'll straight up ignore her comment and pretend that I didn't hear the thing. I didn't hear her. But the thing is, she's always telling me about how pretty I am, so why is she trying to put me down? The last time we spoke, I was telling her about the date I was going on. Instead of her being happy for me, she texts back like, "Wow, okay, you go, girl." So I text back, "How is that funny?" Because there was a laughing emoji in that. Laughing emoji, "Wow, okay, you go, girl." So I text back, "How is that funny?" She left me on red, so I double texted and said, "That's what I thought, hating ass bitch." And she immediately tried to apologize to me when I confronted her about her behavior. I don't know what to think of all this. I don't know. You all listening, do you know what to think of all this? Just a little bit about this. I'm getting this for Reddit, and it has not been upvoted at all. It's actually been kind of downvoted. So, my thoughts about this. Of course, I picked it up because they're talking about backhanded compliments, like giving those compliments. I don't really mean what I say. I want to say something that's hurtful. So I think this person really sees that these compliments are not kind. But I also, just reading this, maybe you want to listen to this over again, and maybe they left out some details, but I don't quite see what the friend had done that was so disrespectful as far as the compliments go. It feels like, it appears to me that the person who wrote this, they are jumping to some conclusions, or they're feeling insecure about some of these things. Perhaps it is just me because I have not seen anything else. Your forehead looks different with your hair like that. Oh, you changed your hairstyle again. Your forehead looks different with your hair like that. I get offended and I ask her, "What do you mean by that? Don't get disrespectful." And so I wonder if there is something more to it. The first example that she gave with the Uber is that the friend wasn't talking to her and gave her the cold shoulder and not really saying anything because that guy had hit on her. And I'm like, from my own personal experiences, I drove Lyft, and that's one of the things I did. I talked to my people that I drove around with. I enjoyed learning more about, and whoever was more talkative, I'll have a conversation with them. If they wanted to talk to each other, they talk to each other. And so I imagine that, it's not me hitting. I've never hit on these people. That was, no, I never been hit on either. Womp womp. or maybe I had and I hadn't noticed. But the thing is that it just seems like the explanation of what the compliments were, it doesn't seem quite backhanded. They seem like they don't seem like compliments at all. They just seem like observations. Oh, you're wearing your hair like that. That's an observation to me, and what we make of the observation is the thing, is how we feel about it. Like, how we feel about the observation gives it that power. So I interpret it to be disrespectful and criticizing because I'm insecure about my forehead. I used to get made fun of my forehead either. When you call people a 5 head, I had that happen. But really, for real, maybe the wow you go girl is something that's funny about it. Okay, I keep trying to figure out what the thing is, the compliment. I'm spending too much time trying to figure out what the compliment is and what's backhanded about it. It really seems like there is a struggle to share how we feel about what's being said to us, and the method in which we share that thing comes off from being frustrated, angry already, because don't get respectful. Like, hey, where is it? What do you even mean by that? Don't get disrespectful. So, or I'll straight up ignore a comment and pretend I didn't hear anything. What are those other comments that I'm hearing? But it doesn't sound like a good friend. It sounds like both of you aren't really able to understand how you feel and communicate that to each other. Particularly you, the person who wrote this. She's always trying to put you down with a backhanded compliment. I don't know why she's trying to do that. As you asked, that's one of your questions. I'm not sure why she's always trying to put me down, or why you think she's trying to put me down. Insecure people will give you the compliment that doesn't mean anything, and they'll also give you the compliment that's backhanded, because that's how they really feel. They're really like, I'm not enough, so I'm going to give you a compliment that's disingenuous, that's fake, and I hope that you won't notice and you'll keep me around, because I really need you to understand me. I really need somebody in my life, so I'll give you this disingenuous compliment, but deep down I feel inadequate. And then this person who's giving this backhanded compliments, well, they don't like you because they don't like themselves. They can't be on your team because they're not on their team. I heard that in TikTok. They can't be on your team because they're not on their team. They can't support you in things because they can't support themselves. So what do you do with this? I definitely recommend that you accept the compliment to create the connection. And it's hard to do in these instances where you like, for a minute, just imagine where she said something like, oh, wow, you go, girl. And you would not text back, how was that funny? But you would say something like, thanks. What do you think is going to happen tonight? Or what are your hopes for me tonight? Do you hope I get lucky? You're listening, you're trying to see if they're really trying to support you with that compliment. And you're going to see right away when you ask those kind of questions if they're capable. And a lot of those people who give these compliments, they're not of substance. They're just something people say. And if you look at, something like, oh, you changed your hairstyle again, your forehead looks different with your hair like that. There's no reason to get offended. It's more like accepting the compliment. I mean, accepting the observation, in this case, it's an observation. It could be a compliment if you see it as a joyful way, because my hair always looked terrible with it in my face, and now my forehead looks a lot better because I'm wearing my hair up. You could look at it that way, and that would be a compliment for you. But you want to accept whatever it is, whatever the observation is about you. So they're like, yeah, your forehead looks different with your hair like that. Oh, yeah? It does, doesn't it? And there you go with the curiosity. What's different about it? I like the way your hair is back and your forehead shines. It's so bright now. It's so big. And I'm like, it is. It really is. It really shines a lot. I don't think it's a bad thing unless you think it's a bad thing. And if you think that's a bad thing, then you would be insecure about it. And you would be like, why would you say that? You would get offended. But it's just an observation. Yeah, it makes my hair look that. It makes my forehead shine really bright. I now have an extra 5 head or a 4 head, and now it's 5. Something like that. But you want to investigate those kind of compliments or comments to see whether or not they mean something. What is it that you mean, or what about it is? Those are the kind of questions that we want to ask people. I hope that you got rid of this friend. I tell everybody, this is what I've been doing these days. Just get rid of them. Goodbye. We'll see you later. Take care. We'll never see you never. We'll just, thank you so much for your time. But once I discover that you are insecure and you're not able to support me in these spaces that I need, I'm not going to wait around until I have a big, tragic, important event and then have me look at you as a friend to support me, and then you're not capable. That is awful. So once you start noticing these things and you start checking to see whether or not they're able to support you, ask them, adjust your mindset and accept their observation or their comment, and then get curious. What about that? And not with a tone that is meant to be threatening, but just a curious, I'm curious. I want to know what you think. It's like a gotcha moment. It really is. Redditor, thank you so much for asking your question. I know that you didn't ask me to answer it, but I did, and I hope that it helps. Best of luck to you. Take care. My name is Coach Lee Hopkins, and you have been listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. You can find me at patternsofpossibility.com and on all social media at Patterns of Possibility. And as always, I want to encourage you to be yourself, live your truth, and there you'll make lasting friendships.